From wine tastings to bike rides, art shows to beer gardens, street hockey to fashion shows, and so much more. There is always something going on at Crystal City. Offerings and live entertainment. For all the details, crystalcity.org.
All right, my favorite real estate team in town, the Mandy and David team, can show you homes that aren't even on the market yet. They'll help you every step of the way. The Mandy and David team at Compass work at any price point and in every zip code in the DMV. Check them out at mandyanddavid.com.
Woo! All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Here we go.
What's the phrase that you hear every day? Hey, phrase. What's the phrase that you hear every day? Hey, phrase. What's the phrase that you hear every day? Hey, phrase. What's the phrase that you hear? Tune in, yeah, you gotta tune in. Sarah Fraser on the mic and she about to begin. The co-host with the most ball-worn looking fleek. Take it from me, you should be listening.
Live from the nation's cap, pop culture at its best. Don't need a second guess. Separated from the rest.
Entertaining nonetheless. Topics to address. She's so glamorous, the number one hostess.
Hey, don't show this part because I'm not that glamorous. Oh my God, the water guy is looking at us. The Nestle water light. He's like freaking out over there. Hi, Nestle water guy. Bring us some free water.
You got any nuts in that water?
This guy's cute. You guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Fraser, along with Paul Wharton.
Hello, hello.
We do this podcast every week. It is all about news of the week, pop culture, our lives, a lot about our lives.
A lot about our lives, right?
And then we try to do interviews that, make you comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or, I'm always trying to make Paul uncomfortable by talking about race.
Yes, you are. You want me to be the authority for all black people.
I do. I really do. I look to you.
All right, okay.
Because if you don't know what we look like, which I'm sure no one listening, I can't imagine there's anybody listening. By the way, if you have no idea what we look like, if you listen to this podcast every week and you have no clue what we look like, email
Google
us. Yeah, Google us and then email us. Sarah at heyfrage.com and Paul Wharton Style at yahoo.com. Wouldn't you be curious to see if nobody knows what they have to know?
They know what we look like.
I would think.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're black, so I defer to you. So that's why I'm like, I want you to answer for all black people.
Right. And you're white. And, but I know a lot of white people. Do you have any black friends other than me?
Yes, tons.
Actually, really?
TK, my friend Barbara.
Okay.
My longtime college, my first college roommate, Lourdes, she was African American. Then my other dear friend, Sarah Hua, she is Vietnamese, Chinese. Yeah.
I used to have a lot more white friends. I have friends of every ethnicity. But where are my white friends?
Yeah, where
are they?
Well, you got Dan, you got me, you got AJ.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Okay, I got a couple. All right, sounds good to me.
We'll be your white friends.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that, by the way, because everybody's very upset over the past week with the controversy of come meet a black person.
Okay.
With that event in Georgia. I want to know if you're upset about that.
Well, I'm not really upset about it because I feel like anybody that would come to that event is coming with great intentions because they really just want to meet a black person. It doesn't seem normal to us because we live here in the DMV, but some people, maybe they never actually met a black person before.
Well, I was saying this to you before we got started on the show today. I actually... Look, and people are very upset about this, so I'm sure we'll get emails. But I love the concept. And this is, we'll just talk about it now, because this is being hosted by an African-American woman who put it together. She says that after doing her research and a survey that was done in 2015, that 75% of white people in the United States, so you're talking a lot of rural areas, do not have they don't have any non-white friends.
Okay.
Which, like I was saying to you, I grew up in Maine.
Sure.
We had one kid in our high school who was mixed race, and that was it.
Sure.
So it's like, oh my God, I think that was the greatest thing for me about going to college. I was like, oh my God, I'm actually experiencing and learning from other people from different backgrounds.
Well, we're from Cleveland, and then when I was about 9 months old, we moved to Maryland. We moved to Columbia, Maryland. Then we moved to Laurel, Maryland. And Holly and I grew up in a neighborhood where...
That's your sister,
that's
right?
my sister,
Holly's your sister. Okay.
And there's two of us. She's 2 years and 2 days older than me. And then our friends were all white in the neighborhood. And we used to say to people back in Cleveland, we're the only blacks in our neighborhood. Like, it was like a thing, In our whole neighborhood, we were the only blacks. We had Nicole Gerard, Nicole Mamula. We had like Sarah Skelly and Lori Tanner and all of our friends, but they were all white.
That's so...
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But we had the best stuff. We had like a toboggan You know what a toboggan
yes,
is?
we used to have a toboggan. I love a toboggan.
Holly and I had a toboggan.
Yes.
We had like 8 bikes or 10 or something.
Wow.
And then we had a 3-wheeler, the ATC 3-wheeler that everybody that they're riding now, and it's totally cool. We had one when we were kids, and we used to ride it around, right?
The illegal ones, yeah.
Oh my God, we were hooked up.
Oh my God, I guess, yeah.
So maybe that's why they liked us. Maybe we were their token black friends.
You were the
with
rich
good
black
stuff.
friends.
We had good stuff. Yeah.
We're going to the Whartons.
Exactly.
We got the 3-wheeler,
right.
toboggan.
But we didn't have Tang and Fruit Loops. See, my mom didn't buy that shit.
Oh, good for her.
So we had to go to Nicole Gerard's house for the Tang and the Fruit Loops. I was like, you have Tang, Fruit Loops, and Lucky Charms? Oh my God, it's like winning the lottery.
What'd your mom feed you? She was very healthy?
Well, she liked to cook the food, so we couldn't like go in the cabin and just whip ourselves up something. It's like she would have all her pots on, Anita Baker. My mom would play her music really loud. She would have a glass of champagne, and she would. You looking for?
I'm looking up Anita Baker's size. I'm trying to think.
That's not You Give Me Good Love. Yeah, no, it's
Giving the best that I got.
Giving you. That's it. Play it.
Giving you the best that
That's what I was just singing.
Oh well, hold on. It's gonna go through like a bunch of commercials here. Your mom was, I feel like, the picture perfect. She always like set the scene, right? Like
she set the scene, honey. We could hear the music coming from our house all the way down the street.
Really?
Okay. And I can't give you.
Oh my God, this song.
Exchange for the things you give to me. Hey, Mom. What we have for dinner? Get out my kitchen, boy. I'm cooking. Go outside and play with your friends. I'll call you when the shit lights come on. I want to hang out with you, though. Boy, get out this house. You jump fast. Go on.
I have died.
So you get it?
Oh my God, I totally get it.
And then I
That's
jump on my
hysterical.
3-wheeler and roll out.
You jump on the 3-wheeler. I just want to see you on a 3-wheeler. I would die. Oh my God. Anyway, okay, well, coming to Black Person, we've already discussed that. Oh, there you go. That would be so hysterical.
We've all been doing it. We just didn't call it that.
We just didn't call it that.
Okay.
Well, people are really upset about it, as you can imagine. Does anyone give a shit anymore that people are upset? Do you care? Like, now I feel like I don't even respond anymore when people were very upset with me too this past week because Jordan Peele. Remember I was saying to you I'm a year behind everything. So I just watched Get Out. Mm-hmm. And then the Golden Globe nominations came out. And I thought that Get Out must have been nominated last year, but it's actually nominated for this year. It was nominated in the comedy category, and people were very upset.
Okay.
And I said, I posted on my Twitter, I said, okay, excuse me, I get that people are upset, but isn't the point that this film needs to win in some category because it just creates this incredible conversation and awareness, and people were like, that's not the point. But now I just don't even pay attention.
To me, I think it would have less chance of winning as a comedy because it just really wasn't.
Right. And that was Jordan Peele's response. He's very upset that he's like, if people think this is a comedy, you've completely missed the point and it's a documentary.
But I really don't see it as a documentary because it's a scripted film. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I guess what I did understand, because after I saw the film and then I started watching these Jordan Peele interviews, I mean, basically he was saying that it really is from the perspective of how African Americans feel that they've been living and culturally appropriated in this country for so long.
Okay.
That it really was about their experience. Now, it was put into this horror film category mostly because in the horror films, if there's any black people at all, they're usually killed off. They never live till the end. So it was sort of a spoof.
Well, maybe not anymore. I mean, back in the day, it used to be like, oh, the black guy's going to go first, but I don't know now. I think because that became such a stereotype that I think filmmakers are like, well, we can't kill the black guy first. I mean, at least
you kill him second or third.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, he responded and says that he does not feel like it should be in the comedy category, but I don't know if the Academy cares or not. So we'll see.
Well, what do you think? Is it an honor just to be nominated?
Okay, this is a very white perspective, but I would say yes, because, think about how many film directors there are. Think about how many people want to even make it as far as Key and Peele have made it, right, in their careers. You have millions of people dying to be there. So, yes, and I think Jordan Peele deserves every award because this man has created this film and taken his art to a conversation about race in a way that was entertaining yet meaningful and so much innuendo. So I believe it is. I think that people listening to this will say absolutely not, that it's more offensive to not truly honor this in the category that should be honored. But to me, put him in this category of comedy, let him win, let Jordan Peele get on stage and have 25 million people watching to say, this is the point, this is what the Academy messed up as. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's art, don't you think?
I really do. Well, let me just tell you about Susan Lucci. I want to bring her up. I want to bring up Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, okay. Yeah. Is that a good thing or bad?
Well, let me set the scene for you.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me.
I am doing the best work of my life. I'm thinking this is like 4 years ago. I'm working at the CW. I have done a show about the sport of polo called Where the Elite Meet. I have done a holiday special with Paula Dane.
Oh,
she was my bestest friends. We made hoe cakes, okay? Like, I was seriously trying to make it happen.
Okay.
We made DC's Next Top Model, the FBL show. Then I was asked to host the local Emmys. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is it. This is my year.
Yeah.
I had a whole table. I invited my whole family, my dad, my mom, her husband, his wife, like the whole thing. I had a friend come down from New York.
I love it.
But I wasn't nominated for anything. I'm hosting the Emmys. Listen, you know how to get a black queen salty as hell at the Emmys? Look.
Don't nominate him.
Don't nominate him for shit. So in that instance, I guess it is an honor to be nominated. But how about this?
Okay.
Having to give out all those fucking awards and you're not even nominated and you did all that work.
I know. So don't you? So you think it's just an honor too?
Well, I think as a first-time filmmaker, to be nominated for a Golden Globe is huge.
I agree.
And he's young. I mean, he could have his whole career ahead of him. He could make like 20 more movies that could be nominated. I mean, he really.
Peele tweeted last week, Get Out is a documentary, and he goes on to basically say that this movie should not be trivialized. Am I saying that right?
Trivialized?
Trivialized. Thank you.
But it's not a documentary. I'm sorry, I'm standing behind that. It's not a documentary.
Yeah, well.
No, it's a horror film.
We'll see how people.
When that white Porsche rolled up in the beginning and came after that guy and strangled him and put him in the back of that old 944 Porsche. Okay?
Yep.
That shit was scary.
I know. It was terrifying.
No, that was scary. Definitely.
It was terrifying.
Isn't that something? Okay.
So anyway, look, it's Thanksgiving week, and there's tons going on in your life. There's tons going on in my life. But one of the, actually, speaking of terrifying, I feel like I'm about to be abducted into that white Porsche. We have a live podcast show coming up. December 15th at the DC Improv. It's a Friday night. You can get your tickets. It will sell out. We're only doing one show. It's at 7:30. But Paul has said that he wants us to open the show, each doing a 5-minute set of stand-up comedy.
Yes, straight stand-up. Let me tell you something.
What is fucking wrong with you?
We have to challenge ourselves. We can't keep going through, okay, today I do the morning show with Rick Fox. I rush. I get down here, we do the podcast. I mean, it's like so much going on, but I know how to do those things. It's
do you
not
want to start editing the show? That could challenge you.
No, I don't want to do that. You know me. What do I always say? I gotta go. As soon as you put your finger on that button, I'm like clicking my car. Like, we'll talk about it later. Call me when I'm in the car. I gotta go.
Because, I mean, I could think of a couple challenges for you other than us doing stand-up. Like, maybe you could do some sound effects for the show.
No, the laugh is all you get. Honey, I keep the lights on in this piece. Look, I'm making sure we get some money, okay?
That is true. Paul is like super good at that. Super good. I'll book the guests. You do the sales.
Let's just all calm down and keep doing what we're doing. Like I said, you click that button, I'm out. But I just think it's great because you're a funny person. I'm a funny person. I did stand up one time before for my friend Karen Williams. You know, she was playing at the DC Improv.
Yes, which I never saw that show, but I know.
I had a
said
total
went well, right?
outer body experience. I was like floating above myself. I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Why would I subject myself to this torment? I have to stand in front. And they were all lesbians.
Oh my God.
So Karen is a very famous, Karen Williams is her name. You can check her out, but she's like a famous lesbian comedian. She's been playing forever. And I opened her show, and the lesbians and the gay guys, so everybody, LGBT pride, fuck that. Lesbians usually don't like gay guys.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's like a little bit of a thing. So I had to get over that, and I opened the show talking about an experience that I had where I was standing at a urinal. This happens all the time, by the way. This happened the other day. Standing in a urinal, fresh blowout, okay? So you got those two components. Me standing, taking a piss at the urinal with my fresh flowing blowout, and the guys come in, and they look at me, and then you hear the screech of their sneakers, and then they grab the door and they look back at the door and it says men, and then they look straight ahead and they scratch their head and look back over at me. And so it happened like right around that show. So the guy did all that, and I looked over, hey, how you doing, bro? How you doing? What's up? And he was like, and the guy just like took off running out of the bathroom. Do you know what I'm saying?
They must have no clue what to say.
Oh, I play with them all the time, and then, or I'm just like, or else I'll like do that, thing where I put my hands up on the wall, like my dick is like 12 inches long, like, oh yeah, just had to drain, oh yeah, had to drain this big boy, oh yeah. They're like, oh my God.
What is this guy doing?
What is happening?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is a great way to open the show. Okay, you're giving me a little more hope. I just feel like, okay, so I did stand-up comedy back in the, I'm talking like when I started my radio days. So I don't even know, 2007, like 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it is so hard to work material. And, I had all these, I was much heavier then. And then, of course, my weight transformation. So it
was self-effacing, all your comedy, huh?
All my comedy was self-effacing, but it was basically like, and I can't even say these jokes anymore. It was saying how I miss being overweight because I was harder to date rape. Like, it was very hard to, like, put something in my drink because you couldn't carry me out of the bar.
No, don't lead with the rape. No.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even know how to lead. Like, what? I mean, we got to, like, work the material.
Well, so the rest of your material, was it based on real life experiences or just little, like, punchline type things? Because I tell stories.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is I do think I tried to actually write jokes back then, and now I'm sort of thinking, okay, well, I can easily, like, bullshit on a microphone for 5 minutes, but then I'm like, is that really stand-up comedy, or is it just basically like a warm-up
for our podcast?
Yeah.
Because the podcast show is actually funny. So we really need to make sure that there's a little bit of a difference. They're not indistinguishable, right? Our stand-up and our podcast show.
Right. So that's my thing. Are you going to write, like, actual jokes with punchlines?
I don't think I'm going to do punchlines, but I'm going to write funny stories. Now, listen, this is the thing. This is the thing about even doing this podcast. I look at comics and their stand-up shows, and they make a lot of this shit up. You know what I've been doing wrong? I tell all my real business.
Yeah. I could have told you that. Yeah, in radio, everything's fake.
Yeah, I should have been doing that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
fake.
telling all this business, and I actually had somebody call me the other day and say, do you ever think that maybe, I don't know, you might say a little too much about it?
No.
And I'm like, well, I mean, as far as I know, like, this podcast is like therapy for me. Although...
You got to start banning people from listening. That's what I do.
Let me tell you about the latest ban. Can I just tell you? So my sister... shares on her Facebook the other day, oh my God, these people have such great chemistry. This is amazing. Got to listen to this podcast. It helps get me through my week. So the first like I see is from my dad. So I text him, and I'm going to let you read the text. And I'm just like, listen, the podcast is not parent approved. And then he responds, what? So
what?
So I call him, and I'm like, what didn't you understand about what I just wrote? He was like, wait, what do you mean? I was like, look, I'm just going to tell you this once. You're a grown man. Look,
oh, my God.
Did I make it up or not? See, I'm telling you, I told the truth.
Yeah, you did.
So she's reading my text right now. She's like, what? I said, look, I'm telling you. I talk about some things that you're not going to want to know about. Enter at your own risk. It's not for you to hear. Trust me, you're not going to be able to reverse what you hear. Just You know.
I think my mom too has given up like listening a long time ago. She like couldn't handle all the vibrators and sex talk.
Yeah.
She's like so out. Yeah, she rarely listens. She'll like, or she'll call me and she'll be like, yeah, listen to your podcast today, and I skipped to the interview. I'm like, Lord, that was a different show. And she's like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, all right, well, anyway.
So yeah, we're gonna have to work on our sets because it's challenging though, right?
I don't even know where
We
to
need something
start.
to stir it up, though. We need something that's going to make those butterflies come back. And I think
Really? I feel it every day.
you do.
Yes.
Every day?
Absolutely.
Oh shit!
I'm like, are we going to continue next week? What's going on?
I feel
you gonna
anxiety
leave me for like
about
a rich man?
What'd you say?
Are you going to run off with a rich man?
No,
Like,
I'm not running anywhere. I'm here. Shit, no.
Wait, how long is this going to last? Are you gone? Like, are you every week? I'm like,
you have that.
Is he going to be
you
on
have
a
that
jet?
fear?
Yeah.
You have that fear of being abandoned?
No, I'm just teasing you. I really don't. Maybe I'll use that as a good joke, though.
Yeah, you could.
Anyway. So what else is going on in your life? We definitely have that. And by the way, you know what? I want to hear from people, like if they think that we should do this stand-up set and then get into our podcast show, because it's something entirely different for us. Tweet at us after you listen to the show, okay? You're going to be out all Thanksgiving. You're going to be in your car for Black Friday, doing all your shopping. Tweet at Hey Frase and at Paul Wharton, okay? On Twitter, let us know if yes, we should do the stand-up set or no.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so nervous. I'm going to like crap my pants. Like literally.
Oh, God.
I know. I hope my Citrusel works that day. Otherwise, I'm going to shit
I don't
myself
want you to
right
shit
before.
yourself.
Well,
We just got over the showering thing. Did you see? I
it'd
mean,
be so good. That would. If I shit myself on stage, that'd be like my best night because people would love it. They'd like
Oh, my
laugh.
God.
Then I have to exit stage right. It'd be great. You'd have to come on. It'd be perfect. Bye.
and
I'd
also,
just shit myself.
I'm interested to hear if people want another special guest at our live show.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because wait, the last live show we did, I think,
We had
was
Monique Samuels.
That's right.
Yeah, from the Real Housewives of Potomac.
We've normally had a special guest.
But we have so much to say in that podcast, and I really like when we're able to interact with the audience.
And it goes so fast.
It goes so fast.
Right.
It really does. And we're all drinking and having fun. I mean, we all.
Wait, are you going to drink at this?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay. Well, sometimes you're on, sometimes you're
I'm
off.
on cock too, baby.
Okay. Perfect. That's a perfect amount.
remember?
I'm on cock too.
You're
I'll probably be
cock-too, too?
cocked out. I'll be like, wait, after that. All right, my set's working. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're
All
warming
right,
up.
All right, I'm warming
But
up.
also want to tell people, Sarah, just in case they didn't know, our friends over at Mervis Diamond Importers,
Yes.
which we love, they're having a holiday trunk show on Saturday, December 2nd, and I am going to be the Mervis Diamond personal shopper. So if you're looking for a special gift for someone for the holidays, you can definitely come check them out in 1900 Mervis Way out in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. And I'm shopping with people from 12 to 2, and you're going to be there as well.
I'm going to be there as well. I'm going to be hanging out, and then we are going to do a Facebook Live with Paul. So I'll be hanging out and doing the little Facebook Live. But yeah, especially for people who feel like they don't know what to get their significant other. You're so good at gift giving, and Paul really is. I mean, Paul is like the friend and the person that all of a sudden you're just working, and he's like comes in with flowers, and you're like, oh, that's so sweet. I need to start randomly buying people gifts. So
I love it.
You're so good. So please come. We've got a Facebook invite up. You can find that if you just search Mervis Diamond, their trunk show event. But that is all going down December 2nd, and we'll be there. 12 to 2.
Fun.
Also, we got to thank Pacers. Pacers has a great podcast all about life, running, comedy. It's called Run Pacers. Check them out. And definitely after you listen to their podcast, let them know that you heard about them from the Hey Fresh podcast with Paul Warren. We would love that.
Love it.
A couple other stories to get to before we get comedian Donnell Rawlings is going to be on. He was supposed to be on with us last week. He was in a different time zone, didn't connect. So this week he's on.
Yes, so funny.
So
Saw him
funny.
on the Dave Chappelle show, and I thought he stole the show, actually.
I thought he stole the show, too.
It was so hilarious.
Holy shit. And the craziest part is I was reading his bio to get him on the show. We actually were competing radio. So when I used to co-host on 99.5, he was on PGC with Big Tigger. Do you remember Big Tigger?
Of course.
So he did a brief morning show.
He's in Atlanta
run.
now. Big Tigger,
Yes.
yeah.
I was like,
He was
Donnell
dating
Rawlings.
Rudy Huxtable, Keisha Knight Pulliam.
He was Big
For a
Tigger?
long time before she got
Really?
pregnant with the Lisa Wu's ex-husband from Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Wow, was that devastating for Big Tigger?
Totally devastating.
Really? So she was like cheating on him and then got pregnant?
I don't know that much about it, but I know he was dating Rudy Huxtable.
Oh, there's like way better drama going on over there.
Oh my God, there's a lot going on.
So he's coming up, but there's a ton of stories that I thought we could get to too, and chat about, because I wanted to see. Last week, President Trump now lifted the ban, or what was a ban, on game hunting, big game hunting in Africa. So this basically means, and people were so outraged, I kept seeing this all over my social media feed, but essentially now in 2 new regions that never before allowed big game to bring your like lion head back and your elephant trunks back, they're now allowing that. You think that's bad news?
Oh, I think it's horrible news. But I think that, one of the main issues right around the time you got elected, remember that picture surfaced of Eric and Don Jr.?
Yes.
Right? So any wrong that the Trumps have done, he tries to make it right by law. Like he just wants to fix all their stuff up.
That's actually a great observation.
No, really.
You're right.
Because
tax
why would
stuff.
he give a shit?
Right.
He obviously is not out there doing that himself.
Now, a lot of conservationists make the argument that the long-term health of big game is actually helped when big game can cross international boundaries, meaning that they can bring home their the heads of these poor
How does it
animals,
help?
because they have to pay so much to go shoot these animals because basically to shoot an elephant is like $100,000, or to shoot a lion is like $65,000. So they're saying that these fees are so much that they help these areas like in Zimbabwe and Kenya to.
It makes me sad though.
I do too. I think it's
It makes
so
me sad that
wrong.
if somebody could
Why?
put a price on our lives and say, oh yeah, you could shoot this person for $1 million, like it's kind of like, oof.
I mean, to me, it's like, so in the Safari Club International is a hunting advocacy group that has consistently opposed any restrictions on importing trophies from abroad. They're very, very happy about this. I think it's just so disgusting. I mean, honestly, I'm not a huge animal lover, but I have such a respect for animals in the wild, and animals are so intuitive, and they're so much more advanced than we think. And the fact that, just because you're rich, you can go over there and pay $100,000 and shoot this animal and bring it back. It just is disgusting. It's really gross.
Bring me the 100. I'll show you a good time.
I mean, I would really love to know.
Shit.
Yeah, you can mount us on the wall.
I got an elephant trunk for ya. It's here for 100. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm running all night long, baby. Shoot.
This is a good set. I love it. One of the places where this has been lifted to is Zimbabwe, which, of course, as you know, is currently in political turmoil. It's just so sad. I mean, I'd be curious to hear somebody try to argue the side of it, that how the money helps grow these populations.
Sure.
So I don't know. If you're well versed on that, you can contact us. And a couple of people have basically made the argument that 50 years ago, that really helped when these animals were even sort of more endangered. But now you have bigger things like the population, like more and more people are infringing. So even if they have the money to allow sanctuary areas, it's not going to help because these animals basically have nowhere to roam then.
Okay.
Very, very sad.
Very sad.
It's now official, by the way. This probably doesn't surprise you. Where do you think most people now are meeting their significant others if they're
online on Tinder?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Actually, it's not Tinder. It's Match.com is number one.
Match.com has never worked for me.
Really?
I've tried it like 3 times.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well,
I mean, I got matched up, but I didn't like any of the matches.
Did they look like who they were supposed to look like in real life?
Maybe I just don't go that far. You know what I think it is? Like, even with Tinder, like, I'll swipe around and I'll match and I'll, like, message a little bit, but I just don't go all the way to the meeting.
Oh, wait. What's happened with the cute guy that sent you the nude photos? That was
I can't go all the way to the meeting for some reason. I'm blocked.
So why do you think that is?
Somebody the other day was out with me and I was looking at my glass weird and they said, you think someone's trying to poison you, right? And I was like, how'd you know? I don't know.
Oh, you just have that, that not insecurity,
I'm just like, I met
fear.
this person, what if that's not their real picture? What if it is? It seems weird. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'd be better to like go on a group date first. And then if it works out, like after everybody sees their face, then I go off.
Well, you're not alone in the sense that now that's where everyone's meeting. And you are right. They found a whopping, this was done by the Knot.com, that close to 20% of all people polled that have recently gotten engaged, got married, or found each other on a dating site or an app. It is now the most popular. It's leading by about 2% of people meeting on other forms of social media. So like just meeting on Twitter or whatever, they don't consider that a dating app.
Okay, so let me tell you what my friend Sidra and I, you know Sidra Smith. So if y'all don't know
Sure.
her, you can Google her. Sidra Smith, she is Tasha Smith, the actress, her identical twin sister. She's my best friend in New York. She's my production partner and best friend. So anyway, she and I decide, first of all, this friend of ours like invited us over to her house to meet her new boyfriend.
Okay.
This woman doesn't have the best personality. She's not the best looking. Like, I'm just like, wait a minute. So I call Sidra. This bitch got a man? Wait a minute. Whoa. So I'm just like, so really, we just out here like this, huh? So she says, look, what do you think the issue is? I said, you know what? If I'm really being honest, I think the issue is I have a fear of rejection.
Really?
And she said the same thing, because I'm fine when I go out to meet people when there's no sexual chemistry involved.
Sure, business, you're great.
Or just walking down the street. I'm saying hi, I'm high-fiving people. Hey, how you doing? All that stuff. Because I'm not like, hey, you know?
Oh, right. When
But when it comes to that, like I remember before I did Made on MTV, I had the hottest dating life in New York City. I was like the 20-year-old Samantha Jones. Okay?
I love it.
Do you know what I mean?
I believe it, too.
I would see a guy across the bar, like this bar G. He would look at me. I'd look at him. He'd send me a drink. I'd drink it. He'd send me another one. I'd drink that one too.
Okay, this is turning out to be a song.
Right,
Yeah, okay.
exactly. But
Send me a
basically,
drink,
you know,
I'll drink it.
It too, right? But you know their intention. Because
Sure.
it's just like two guys, you're hot, I think you're hot, let's have our cocktails and head back to the crib.
Sure.
Okay, now, then fast forward when Made came out, and I remember seeing this guy across the bar, and I was like that's when my eyebrows could move because I didn't have Botox. That was, back in the day.
Sure, back
when
in
I
the
was
day.
normal.
Okay. Yeah.
And, and I was doing all that energy with him, and then he came over, he was like, oh my God, I totally loved you on MTV. And I was like, oh, what? Oh, wait, I thought my night was wrapped up. This is a done deal. Oh, you're talking about MTV. So, see, it kind of changed. So, see, now, just kind of going to the bars where we live, I feel like I don't really know who's into me or just admiring me as a friend. So I don't want to be the one to find out.
I understand that. No, I
He's
get
just
that.
not that into you. Who the hell wants to hear that?
But don't you feel like I felt like I had that phobia too for a long time, like until I met Dan. And the reason I kind of met Dan was I almost didn't even care. Like I wasn't even, when I first met Dan, thinking about like, oh, this is long term or anything. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to sit next to this guy in this airplane and chat him up and whatever. I have no expectation, because when I was dating, I'd put so much expectation, and then you'd go out and you'd spend 5 hours with these guys and they'd be like, yeah, I'm actually still married. And,
right.
But I'm moving out. And you're like, fuck you. You're like, so like, or, you get at the end of the night and they'd be like, so these are my 3 kids. And you're like, 3 kids?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I am the hell out of here.
Right.
So I understand, like, you get so wrapped up in it and you have so many expectations and hopes, and then it all like crumbles.
Sure.
So I know what you mean. And I had a great girlfriend. We're still good girlfriends. But Celine always just tells me, like, the person that is meant for you is like always going to return your phone call. They're always going to be there. Because I was always like, oh, should I text him? Should I not text this guy? And she's like, text. If you want to text, because the person who's right for you is always going to respond. And I'm like,
that's so true.
What a great filter. So why play any games? Like, just put it out there.
So Sidra and I decided that for 1 week, that means 7 full days, and we're going to decide to start and finish.
Yep.
We are going to go. Look how hot the UPS guy is. I mean, damn. Sorry, guys. We should not be next to a window. But anyway.
We need screens desperately.
We need screens.
Desperately.
But
It's
anyway,
too white for
we
me.
decided that, nice.
Okay.
We decided that for 7 days, we were going to challenge ourselves. We did not care about the rejection. And we were going to just be out amongst, in the stores, walking on the street, talk to people, give them our business cards, and just say, to hell with rejection, and see what shakes out.
I think that's great.
What do you think?
You're going to do this.
I haven't started yet.
Well, you got to.
I need new business cards with a fake phone number.
No, just be you.
No, I can't.
Oh my God, Paul, are you currently on any diet? Are you on any diet right now? Do you diet? Do you really diet?
He keeps talking to me about this kind of stuff.
Well, because I'm
leaving
obsessed
here
and I hate.
Going to. No, I'm not.
I know.
I was going to say I'm going to Equinox. Let me tell you about my problem with my diet.
Yeah.
The problem with my diet is my fucking blowouts. because I'm always getting my hair done, and I'd hate to waste a good blowout.
Right.
So then I miss the gym.
I get that.
It's a problem.
What about yoga?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about yoga?
You know, when I was doing the slick back more, then, I could go to the gym more. I'm going to do that again.
Well, people are freaking out about this Reddit diet. You know, I am very, very anti-diet. I hate diets. I've done so many of them, and they never work. They fail for 95% of people. But that's why I kind of wanted to bring this up, because I'm like, no, why are millions of women falling for this, and men?
Okay.
It's called calories in, calories out. And the concept, of course, is simple. You can eat whatever you want, but you have to make sure that the number of calories you eat is less than the number of calories that you burn off. It sounds familiar, but this has now become one of the most commented Reddit feeds, and dieting in general is extremely popular on Reddit. And it's filled now with stories of people who have reportedly lost weight, which the things with diet is, of course, you lose weight for a short amount of time, but then it's almost impossible to keep it off long term. Anyway, doctors are warning that, again, things like this don't work long term, and essentially you need to find healthy balance, and it can also lead to eating disorders where people have become so obsessed with the calories.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's just so ridiculous. I hate when I see that, because I'm like, there's so many people still caught in that diet trap.
Well, when I'm at the gym and I'm doing cardio, it almost seems impossible to burn off all of the calories or anywhere near the calories that I'm consuming, right?
Yes. And I feel like, I don't know, I lost the most amount of weight when I stopped counting calories and you just truly eat, and that was my whole mindful eating series, the Mindful Mondays podcast that I have, which is done, by the way. So if you want to download it, you can on iTunes. If you subscribe to this, you'll get it anyway. But that was my thing, is like when I stopped counting all this shit and worrying, and that's when I truly listened to my body. And lots of times you're less hungry than you think you are.
Now, what exercise were you doing? Were you walking?
None. That's all I do is walk.
None.
I jog now, and I do a lot of sprints. I like the interval stuff, but I only do exercise that I love. I used to sign up for like all the crazy gyms and trainers and the 5 a.m. workout class, and I never went. And the mental torture of trying to go was so ridiculous. It was so crazy. Last story before we get to Donnell Rawlings. I thought this was really clever. Did you ever get suspended when you were in school at all?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, me neither. You never seemed like you'd ever misbehave. Nope. But this mom is getting a ton of praise. Her kid got suspended for 3 days, and suspensions themselves, I didn't even realize how controversial suspensions are. You think suspensions actually hurt kids? They say that it's very detrimental to families and to the child. One, because the child is singled out. Two, they usually have to go home and stay home by themselves.
Deserve it.
You think?
They usually do. And there has to be some kind of consequence for bad behavior. Like, I have a friend that was saying that she and her husband rolled up to their kid at the playground outside of school, and the kid was terrorizing everybody. He was pushing one girl down in the dirt, and he kicked somebody in the shin. He was just being a tyrant. He was only 4 years old. And then the dad walks over and, like, sees him, and he's like, oh, my God. And then the next day, the teacher called and said, hey, your kid just did the same thing again today. Like, there was no consequences.
Well, that kid, they ought to, that kid needs to go on the playground and lose a bunch of privileges and
suspended.
You think?
Yeah, because when you're a kid like that, and even a little older, school is your life. Everything that happens with those kids there, like, that's your whole world, basically. Home is just a place to, eat, take a poop, shower, and go back to your real life, which is school. You know what I'm saying? I think that the suspension is not a good idea. I think you should keep them in school and make them do something else, like manual labor. Okay.
Which that's what this mom was doing. So this mom says, she posted on social media, now she's received thousands of responses. My son has been suspended for 3 days from school, and for discipline, he'll do your lawn service. He'll rake your yard, mow if you have a mower, pick up trash, or wash your car for free. Maximum 3 hours. If anyone has a rake that they would like to donate, that would be awesome, and he will do it for free. And then she posted a picture.
I love this mom.
Isn't it great? It went viral, and people are absolutely loving it and praising it for her. And she got thousands of responses, and she says already her son is booked for the 3 days. Isn't that great? See, but that teaches the kid a lesson.
I love it.
You're not like going home. Yes, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, when I was a kid, my dad is in construction. He's a builder. And every Saturday, I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go with him to work on the construction site. And he literally would take me, we would go to McDonald's to get sausage McMuffin with egg. That was our thing. I thought I was really grown. And he would get coffee, I'd get Cocoa. And we would go to the job site, but I'm telling you, if I ever did anything wrong in school that week, he would drop me off at the job site and make me like do manual labor with the laborers that were cleaning the place, like moving cinder block. I was only like 10.
Oh my God. Paul, over our Thanksgiving holiday, will you please bring back like your most funny kid photo, please, from your childhood? Let's both challenge ourselves, like the dorkiest or the most like the opposite of what we think we'd be doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I never picture you with a shovel out at a construction site, like moving dirt in a hard hat.
Well, I had all of that and tears streaming down my face. Okay. I'm like, I'm Paul Wharton Jr. Why are you doing this to me? They're like, yeah, whatever. Over there, kid. Clean out the porta potty.
Okay, we got to do that. That's our challenge over the Thanksgiving break. You guys have a safe holiday. Donnell Rawlings is on the podcast next. We love you. Follow us on social media at Hey Frase, at Paul Wharton, and Paul Wharton Style.
On Instagram,
On Instagram. And be sure to leave us a review on iTunes.
And email us. We love to get your emails and your feedback.
Boom. All
okay.
Right. Donnell
love you
Rawlings.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Donnell Rawlings.
Hello?
Donnell Rawlings.
Hello?
I'm so glad I could catch you. I'm absolutely like in love with you. I think you're the funniest fucking thing ever.
Oh, thank you. I'll take that funny thing too. I'll take the funny thing.
Seriously, I discovered you through going to see Dave Chappelle in DC. And honest to God, I mean, I know in a million years you would never admit this, but in some ways I think you were funnier than Dave. You were incredible.
I've heard that I put heat on that stage, so we're good.
Oh my God. Well, you're coming to the DC Improv on Thanksgiving. It's a tradition here. And how many years have you been doing that?
I think it's been 6 years total, 6 years. It's perfect because I get to make money, I get to see my family, and I get to make people DC laugh, so it's a win-win.
Well, you have some of the funniest jokes, and one of them involves Magic Johnson's son, which I won't give anything.
Oh, yeah! Yo, I gotta tell you, I went to a party. Rihanna had a party at One Oak maybe a month ago.
Oh my God.
And EJ was in the party.
Yeah.
He was there, and I was scared as shit for like 5 minutes. I didn't know if somebody told him I'd been cracking jokes. And he's a lot bigger in person than he is on Instagram. And I was like, yo, I do not want to get knocked out by EJ. That would be one of my worst TMZ moments ever.
So wait, do you really think, I mean, because that had to be one of the best jokes. Do you think at this point he hasn't heard that? I mean, that was so good.
I mean, I'm sure he might have heard it, but I think that if he heard it, he would be a good sport about it, because I'm not really like attacking his sexuality or anything. I'm just making a point, and everybody's so sensitive now. You don't know what you can joke about, but I think that he would take it in good spirit, and I think Magic Johnson would too, because I know he's heard a million of those jokes. I know it.
I would think so. Well, speaking of that, I mean, I've got a million questions.
It's very risky. It's a risky joke. It's a risky joke, but the payoff is 100.
Now, is that really why, like, you and Dave, and, I know Dave was one of the first people to start this, where you can't use your phone at all, basically, during your performances. So was that, like, your idea collectively, or was that Dave's idea, and you obviously go along with it? How do you feel about that?
I think it was Dave's idea. It's like, it's very interesting because we live in a world of social media where our social media presence is how people look at us in the business, personal life, in everything. So you want to be a part of it, but you want to control it at some point. I think it's a great idea for stand-up comedy because it's hard for people to get in the groove and get in the moment of live stand-up.
Yeah.
When you're watching a show through your phone, where your phone is the best thing that you're thinking about. It's tough, but after a while, it just creates this space where you could just be open and free. And that's Dave's idea. And my shows, I don't do it. It's very expensive. I don't do it. And like I was working with Dave over the summer, and I felt good about nobody being able to record you and they're watching the show. And then when I started doing my own show, the people had their phones out. It felt like I was about to be assassinated. It felt like the phones were people's weapons against me. Because people can take pieces of your show.
Yeah.
They could put it out there. People will hear it before they get to see it live. And then people can make, like, you can take a minute out of anybody's set and you can write an article, and that article won't be fair to what the comedian said and what he did, But at the same time, these companies and people coming, when they're looking for talent now, they're not just looking for talent. They're looking for how many people follow you. How are you on social media? And it's kind of taken away from the game because now you're starting to get a lot of popular people that can back it up on stage that don't really have the talent set, but they have the social presence, and it gives them the opportunity.
So true. Now, so Donnell, you've obviously worked in Hollywood many years. You work with very famous comedians, and we also are in this time with all these sexual assault allegations and many comedians coming out and admitting that it's true. So, what's your whole take on that? I mean, as a guy, I'm sure you've witnessed some of this.
It's unfortunate any way you look at it. TMZ interviewed me, and I made the mistake, but I made the truth of having a conversation with TMZ cameras after I had a couple drinks, which gives you all the truth you ever want to say. And points I was making, some women upset me, and they said, do I think that Harvey Weinstein will ever work in Hollywood again? And at first I said no, and I said yeah. And they're like, why? I'm like, because he's a Stein. And everybody's like, what the hell you mean by that? And I was like, Jew-Tan Clan ain't nothing to fuck with, And, and people laughed. It was like a too soon, people laugh. But it's like, and I tell women, I try to warn them, I'm like, if you plan on being in entertainment and show business, you have to understand it's Hollywood, it's entertainment. 90% of the men that you're going to run into are going to try to take advantage of you. Majority of them are going to be disrespectful to you. You're going to be disrespected. And I was like, and it's your job to rebuke and negate all of that.
So do you think...
have to... I think it has to come to a point, like, I'm not saying if women are the victims, but I want to... it's just a tough one, because when you say how you really feel, people are like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that it's awful, it's a shame, and I feel like there'll be some change. But it's not just Hollywood, it's just men with power and money are always going to try to take advantage of women.
Yeah.
And as much as people say, well, some people come out like, well, I didn't say anything because I was fearful that nobody was going to believe me. But the day that we live in now, everybody believes you.
Yeah.
Everybody believes you. They're going to believe you first. And then the opposite, the fucked up side about that, there's going to be cases where you shouldn't be believed. You're a liar. You want attention. And there's going to be cases when you assassinate someone's character. You don't even have to be truthful about anything now. You could just say, that guy touched me, and he said enough outlets, people are going to believe it. Now, if that's the case with Weinstein, I don't know. And the unfortunate situation, and this is a tough one for people to swallow, is that you're going to start categorizing rapes.
Oh, really?
And you're going to start saying, oh, what type of rape is it? You know what I mean? And it's going to be unfair to women that have really been violated, women that really have issues, because people they're not going to know when to take it serious. And that's the flip side and an upsetting side of it.
That's an interesting
it's
take.
Awful for a person. It's awful for a person to use their power for sexual favors. I know that in my personal life, I've been in situations where I've got busy with somebody because they probably thought that I was bigger. They thought that I could give them an opportunity, and I've taken advantage of it. I haven't taken advantage of it against their will, but I've taken advantage of it the same way. Oh, he's cute.
Right.
If I can get some off of that, I'm gonna get some off of it,
Yeah.
But I do encourage women to be smart. And a thing I said on stage, if a man flies you across country, first class,
Yeah.
you come to the airport, you go up to the luggage, someone's standing there with your first and last name on the board. You get into an SUV. You go to the dopest suite that a hotel could offer. You walk in the door, there's champagne, there's chocolate, there's everything, and you don't have nothing in common with this dude. Somebody is going to pay for that trip. And you have to be smart.
That's really great
You have to be
advice.
smart.
I think that's
You have to
great.
be smart. And you have to be smart to the extent, and it's tough. Some women don't have to say, you know what? Everybody's saying, well, I didn't want to be blackballed. I didn't want to ruin my opportunity in Hollywood. But you got to stand up for it. And in some cases, you can't question your morals
Right.
for money, for anything.
Yeah. I think that's great
You
insider.
can't, you can't say, I was concerned about my career. You have to come to a point where you say, fuck my career with this asshole. Fuck my career with this network. Fuck my career with this production company. Because believe it or not, that's not the only person you ever get to work with. And what women need to understand, how far they've come in business in Hollywood. If you go to any studio, usually the top brass now are women.
Wow.
So you're going to find somewhere else to work. There's women bosses everywhere in entertainment. So when that asshole dude wants to disrespect you, you have to understand that there are women out there, and there are powerful women out there that will hold you down and will support you. And they're waiting for you. And you have different options now.
Oh, I love it. I feel like you're
Guys
so
are going to
passionate.
never stop. Guys never going to stop being gross.
No, I'm-
We're never going to stop being gross.
So,
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
It's so many people being exposed. I want to right now say that years ago, I was a victim of Me Too. I was working a job where I was making $10 an hour, and my boss wasn't that attractive. She wasn't anything that I would pursue, but she presented an opportunity for me to make $17 an hour. And I was not strong enough to resist, and I became a Me Too.
got it. No,
Do I feel good about it?
Yeah.
Do I feel good about it? No. Did my bank account feel good about it at the time? Great.
Right.
You know?
Right. No, I think that's a good.
I mean, we got to be smart so many ways. Women have to be smarter and men have to be smart. Because small conversation and small talk that used to be cool, like, it don't exist anymore.
Right.
I mean, the new thing now, you have to put a disclaimer. I came up with this idea. The new thing is no Harvey. Before you make a statement or say anything to a woman, you have to say no Harvey first. It's like, no Harvey, your butt looks good in those jeans. I said no Harvey first, so no foul.
Oh my God.
You gotta be smarter. And guys, if you're listening to me, as much as you want to be gross, as much as you want to be boys and be boys, you can't do it. You can't do it.
Oh my God.
We're living in a different time. It's a different thought process. There's different circumstances to your behavior, and you got to grow the fuck up. It's time to adult.
So switching gears, Donnell, like you obviously you're full time in comedy now. You have an amazing career. You work with unbelievable people. But tell me this: it seems like you achieved a lot of success like a little bit later in life. You weren't like a comic that just came out at 20 years old and had like tons of success. How did you stick with it and just keep like working? You're so good now.
The thing about it, because I love it so much. You know what I mean? Like, the first time I started in Washington, D.C., the first time I ever touched a microphone, I completely destroyed the room. There's accounts of it. You could talk to me about it. It's not me, like, yeah, whatever. I was like an animal when I came out. And it was the only thing that I was like, this is the shit. I love this. I'll do this for free.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully I'll do it for money. But I never looked at it as like, I never looked at it as a thing like, I want to be rich and famous. I always wanted to be good first. I wanted to be good first. And I knew if I became good, everything would fall into place. To be quite honest, I think I've been hot every year I've done comedy. Sometimes I've had opportunities to have a better platform, and there's no system to it. You don't ever know when you're going to like really pop. I honestly don't think I've blown up yet.
Oh,
I was telling the day the other day, I was like, when I blow up, he's like, what? Well, I'm like, because I think once you feel like you're blown up, you don't, your mind is not open to learn more. You'll probably get a certain arrogance. You lose your humbleness. You know what I'm saying? I tell people, and I mentor people, they're like, Daniel, how do you think, getting started, what should I be ready for? I was like, be prepared to be broke for 80% of your career. If you can be happy and you can live free with nothing, then everything else will be a gift. And you'll just enjoy everything. And I never, ever thought about doing anything else. Never gave myself a plan B.
Wow.
And I knew that I was the shit. And I knew that it was just going to be a matter of time.
Wow.
I think Dave Chappelle every day. I interview people. People interview me all the time. And they're like, if it wasn't for Chappelle's show, blah, blah. Chappelle's show gave me a platform to do what I've been doing for years.
Right.
When I work with Dave, when I go to his shows, people that are his fans are my fans, but people haven't seen me. I gain fans because people are like, who is this guy? Where did he come from? But I've been running the tortoise and the hare race forever. I've seen a lot of people go past me financially, a lot of things, but I'm keeping a steady course. I'm keeping a steady course. So, so now it's just connecting the dots.
So I have two last questions for you. One, when you work with a comic, I mean, clearly Dave Chappelle is one of the best that's ever lived and, probably ever will be. I mean, do things really come so easily to Dave? Because I thought it was interesting, with two things when he was doing his stand-up set here in D.C. One, he was like, look, this is it. I really want to retire. I don't know if that was a joke or not. But the other thing was that he was talking about how easy comedy comes to him. And with a guy like Dave, I'm like, God, I wonder if that's true, if he just has that gift. So what is the real process?
Yeah, it is, because certain minds are just programmed funny.
Yeah.
They're just programmed funny. That's why when you get too soon, like a real true comic, and it's heart of heart, there's never too soon. There's a too late. Because everybody else gonna be doing those jokes, and his mind is programmed to think funny. Life is funny. Funny observation. Somebody asked me, "Can a joke be too soon?" A joke can be possibly too soon, but the observation never can be too soon.
I love that.
I think Dave Chappelle, his mind is that he observes everything. So now it's like, what outlet would I put it in? Would it be in the form of a rant?
Right.
What would it be? It would be stand-up. And I think comedy does come easy for him. But with comedy coming easy for him, it's becoming harder to exercise that type of easiness because everybody got a stick in their ass. People go to a comedy show to be judgmental and to protest. I'm a fucking comedian. Did you read the description? My thoughts don't have to run parallel with your thoughts to be good. You came to listen to one person and their opinion of life, not to judge them.
But is that really true for you?
Don't go to a goddamn comedy show.
I mean, do you really leave a comedy show and you get Twitter messages or people really? Does that actually happen to you? Like, do you get a lot of negative feedback?
Yes, I've had times when people have tried to protest me and talk shit about me. But the thing is, when they try to build their people to go against me, what they come in contact with is that I have a strong army myself. I have a whole bunch of loyal fans. I have a bunch of fans that really know my character. I have examples of how I've stopped and taken a photo with pictures and with people and go above and beyond. So when you try to build a hate against me, you can't do it because my people are going to hold me down. While you're trying to start a trend, they're like, no, that's not like him. That doesn't sound like him. That's not the Donnell I know. And those people hold you down. Can you slip of the tongue sometime and say some shit? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's what type of following did you build?
Yeah.
And who loves you? And who loves you? And those are the people that hold you down.
Final question. I think we were actually on competing radio shows in DC at one point, and you worked with Big Tigger. I just was curious if you liked radio or if you thought it was just like the shitty
I
business.
love radio.
You do?
I miss doing I'm so weird when I used to do radio. First off, every radio gig, I've worked at 3 stations. Every radio I get, it never was me in pursuit of a radio job. It was just like somebody got fired.
Yeah.
Donnell sat in for a day, and then it's like, oh shit, you want this job? And every time I got it, I love it, you know. But it didn't work out. But I used to, because I think of jokes so much. The morning radio was like, oh, I'm always up early, so I was like, oh, this is the perfect thing for me. I can wake up and crack jokes to people. It was dope. I missed the radio. But it was hard to get into it. I used to, morning show, there's certain times when everybody's listening.
Yeah.
I never knew that. So I would go to work 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm all hyped and everybody's like, what's wrong with this dude, right? And then like at 7:20, everybody's trying to turn up and I'm already ready to turn down. I've been going so hard that when the time that you're supposed to go hard, I was still there, but I just was always excited about it. I missed doing radio. I would love to do radio again.
Really? Oh my God. I did not anticipate that you would say that. That's pretty funny. You were on with Big Tigger on PGC and I worked at Hot 99.5 and I can remember you and I was like, oh my God, that's wild. And then, your career has just continued to grow and it's terrific.
Yeah, all you got to do, I just look at it like this, what I want people to feel is the way you felt about me and the way you felt about seeing me perform live.
Yes.
And it's a song, Jay-Z has a song where he says, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hov. Every time I go on stage, I feel like, allow me to reintroduce myself. And I'll keep starting over with people. And I'll keep continuing to try to get new fans, and it'll work for me.
It totally is. Well, people can catch you DC Improv. You're there the 24th through the 26th, Thanksgiving weekend. Tickets. There's still some tickets available at dcimprov.com. Correct? I know you'll sell out, so I don't know.
Yeah, they are, but that's been a solid sellout for 6 years. It's just a great time. I'm from the DC area. I get to perform for family. I get to eat with family. I get to chill with family, and I get to tell jokes to my DC family. It's always so much fun. It's one of my favorite shows of the year.
Oh my God! Well, you are fabulous, and I'm just so excited.
Are you going to be around? You got to come. I'll tell you this.
I wish I could.
You?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't? Well, I'll just tell you, anybody listening, if you came to the Warner Theater, if you like my stuff at 15 minutes, an hour, it's like, it's stitches.
Oh my God.
Eye makeup running, maybe some fluids coming from your body, but it's crazy.
I know. I'm telling you, I can remember all your jokes. I mean, you making fun of the fact that you were older and having a kid and calling your friends, and they were like, if I can get off work, it was just you're so
No, let me tell you something. It's so funny. It's true. And I was a little nervous about it, but it's just a fact of life. It is what it is. It's who I am. And the only thing I can do is embrace it and love it. But it is funny, like my son's birthday party, I had my friends' grandkids posing for my son. I mean, it is what it is. You get in where you can fit in, but
oh my God.
I'm loving it, and it's funny.
Well, you're terrific. DCimprov.com. Follow Donnell Rawlings on Instagram, on Twitter, and just much continued success. I can't wait to keep following your career, and I'm very grateful for you taking the time to be on the podcast. So thank you.